difficulties. Oh, it is being recorded.
We're out of space.
Yep, guess it'll just be a shame for anybody who missed it. Okay. Hi, everybody. We're going to get started. Today's briefing is on vulnerability categories. And it should help you, if you understand these categories, to help you think about things you might want to do during the competition, things that you might have missed. So our next competition is going to be harder than the last one. They've said so, and we're very soon going to see that. So on to the next chart. Okay, some announcements. There is a new image out there, an Ubuntu image, and I think I shared this with you folks before, and that is Bill's image. I'm calling him Mr. Patterson since now he's graduated, so now he becomes a Mr. as a mentor here with the rest of the team. So you can look forward to that if you also move on to become a mentor later. Anyway, his image is in the Google Drive. I'll show you where that is. It's in the student created images folder, and the one is called Ubuntu practice image, and it says Bill Patterson here. So there's a README in here. There's also one in the drive, and you can use 7-zip to unzip this and just run it. Melina and I both gave this a try and found out that there was a problem with the user account, the main user account display, because when you moved from different computers, Bill's computer apparently needed to zoom in quite a bit. So I actually fixed the zoom issue and I uploaded it. That's why it shows Chloe Bush owns this. So I did it under her account. The next competition is for 333 total points. There's going to be Windows 7, Windows 10, Ubuntu, and Cisco. Last time we had 22 points for Cisco. This time we have 33. So pay attention to that. Now, verbally, I'm going to tell you what chapters are covering. So the quiz is actually going to be on modules 8 to 12. So the first quiz, the one in round 1, was from modules 3 to 7, and now this quiz is from 8 to 12. And then there's going to be a packet tracer, which is modules 1 to 12. So you will be using the packet tracer, and you could get some points on that. Actually, I'm not totally sure about that, but anyway, I think you need to use it to be able to answer some of the questions. So let's see. For our typical quizzing people who are paying attention or not, please pay attention. I'm gonna ask a little bit later how many total points are possible, and hopefully you'll have been paying attention and you'll know. Okay, this week is Geek Week, and I think let's see, can anyone tell us about, did anybody do Geek Week? Yeah, Brennan, I was just mentioning the Zoom problem. I'm just looking at your chat, and I fixed it. So if you download the latest version, you won't have a problem with the Zoom. Did anyone participate in Geek Week? I don't see anybody in the chat saying anything.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a few. Okay. How'd that go? Anybody have anything to say on that? Feel free to use audio if you want. Okay, Andrew, that was fun. That was cool. Was there a good turnout for people? I don't know if that was for the Geek Week or if that was for the turnout. All right. Let's see. I was expecting Maya to be on the line, but I don't see her. Wonder about her, any of her teammates. Anybody there can speak for where Maya might be? She's at Chipotle. Okay. Okay. Well, let's see. I just want to give her a chance to say something, but there's also, is Isaac on today? Oh, there's Isaac. He's just on. I don't think he's on audio yet, but anyway, some announcements. I'm sure the competition's coming up. Did everybody do their paperwork to get out of class and everything like that? Don't forget. Okay. All right, so now we're covering vulnerability categories. And what we're going to try and do is figure out what each of these categories means. And we're going to basically use the vulnerability categories from round one to guide us on that. And so this is a hot link, so I'm going to click on it. This is in the Google Drive. And what I'd like you guys to do is, if you're able to access the file, which is in there, I want you to help by typing in some of your answers right under here so that we have them, so we can collaborate on this. But I guess we'll just go down the line. The first we have for Windows 7, these are the number of vulnerabilities by category. So can anyone either type in an answer onto the file if you can find it, or say what was an account policy change that happened, and what are account policies? Looking for people to type in the chat, or if you want to type into the I see Melina starting to type on that. So just a note, there was one vulnerability. Actually, there may have been more than one vulnerability. Okay, Isaac just gave an answer. Account type and passwords and such. Yeah, is it actually the that a person didn't have a password, or was it something about the policy? We had one answer from Isaac. Okay, lockout policy. Disabling guest admin. So those all sound reasonable answers. Does anyone know for the last competition, did you get points for any of those things? What for the Windows 7? What was the account policy that got you points? So Andrew says it's for lockout policies.
Passwords.
So what was it?
Dates.
Okay, so this is Leon's listed. He did a cut and paste. Which one of those was that for Windows 7? Which one of those was an account policy? Well, we can just do there's some competition here. Isaac saying don't give it away, but remember this is just a listing. It doesn't say how you did it. It's just a listing of what was done. So all right, what was an account policy? So I'm going to do I need to ask our Sage, Mr. Rodriguez or Mr. Claudio what they think is an account policy in that list? Now look at the other policies that you have there. You know, service auditing, policy violation, operating system updates, local policies. So what do we think is account policies versus local policies? Okay.
That's a good one.
Okay, so it's for account policies?
Yeah, minimum password length,
Okay.
minimum age or maximum age before
And what was the other one?
maximum age before you have to change it. Password complexity. That's uppercase, lowercase, special characters, numbers. Password length you've already got.
All right, so those are some ideas.
Number of failed attempts before it locks you out. Come on, guys.
So Mr. Rodriguez, why would those be account policies as opposed to local policies? What's the difference between local policies and account policies?
Well, local policies referring to adjustments and changes to the local machine versus policies that apply to specific accounts, right? So your local policies may be things that govern the system function versus account policies are more geared towards specific account. I'm trying to think of some examples of account policies.
Right.
I mean, of local policies.
So,
you know, like whether you can plug CDs or see a CD on the machine. That could be a local policy, right? You can disable removable media.
So Isaac was asking basically the question I just asked you, and
Right.
you kind of give an answer.
Well,
now,
you know, like Simon also gave, you know, ports, right? Disabling ports, disabling removable media, setting up a message of the day or banner. All of those types of things are local policies.
So was for the competition, as long as we're trying to cover the difference, they said there were two local policies that were on the Windows 7. What were they? Does anybody remember? And you don't have to cut and paste your whole list.
Give it away.
But if you okay. So wait, there's one, limit local use. I'm looking back at Andy's answer. Limit local use of blank passwords to console.
Yeah.
So you couldn't use blank passwords.
Which also kind of goes in with the minimum password length as well, and yeah.
Right.
Other kind of local policies would be whether you allow the admin to log in remotely on that box.
That's a local policy?
Right. Which would be, like when you're talking about the Ubuntu type for Linux, would be whether you would allow someone to use root when they SSH into it. You can disable that to force them to use a different account, an unprivileged account, and then force them to gain privileged access afterwards.
Okay. Oh, we got someone typing one in. Thank you, Leon. That was perfect. So So for those of you who just joined us, what we're doing is we're looking at the competition, the amount of issues that were by each category, and we're talking through which one of those things that were found fell in that category. I've got a question. We'll just go back up to application updates. So it says application updates. What application got updated that got you points on the Windows 7? Does anybody know? What was it? What would you update on Firefox? Is that what got you points?
How about the whole operating system?
Yeah, so down below there's operating system updates, right?
Okay.
So what was it says there were 2 operating system updates. What would that be? Why wouldn't it just be 1? Thank you, Abraham and Erin, for answering, and Andy. Was it Internet Explorer? Okay, setting it to do automatic updates. Automatic updates. And then what was the other thing? I guess it was just doing the update? All right, so there were 2 things right there. You know, the one that I was a little puzzled about was defensive countermeasures. In my mind, that could be a number of different things. Does anybody have any suggestions of what that could be? Okay.
Antivirus.
Antivirus. Very good, Leon.
Firewall. Yeah. 2 good ones.
So were those the 2 possibly that we got points? Does anybody remember? Malwarebytes. Was it for doing, what did you do with Malwarebytes? Arinsa is just downloading it. CCleaner. Now, sometimes they actually want you to remove software, certain software. I'm wondering if that wasn't a case of where they wanted you to remove it. And he says he forgot to write down what I did. You know, one thing, and you saw that somebody did it already. Doing a cut and paste of your what you did is very useful. It kind of will give you a trigger for next time. How about, I'm going to throw out that I thought Malwarebytes was maybe one of the not allowed software items, but does anyone think of anything else that was not allowed in the last one? CCleaner. Now, it was probably in the README that said something about like what you shouldn't have on there, and so by paying attention to the README, then you can remove it. Okay, then there was, okay, someone mentioned Hydro, but that is Linux. You're right, we're still on Windows. All right, we did pretty good. Got some defensive countermeasures. Oh, user auditing. So what about user auditing? What were the things that fell in the category of user auditing? What is an audit?
So what are you guys thinking? Reviewing the accounts to make sure that they have complex passwords.
Oh, this says 5. Yeah. So Mr. Rodriguez kind of gave a hint, and you're right. Admin user versus standard user.
Good one.
Standard user versus admin user.
Blank passwords, maybe?
Blank passwords.
Any other thoughts, guys? Yeah, that would be a good one. Disabling guest.
Disabling guest.
Account set to auto login. Yeah, that's, or the system set to auto login. Yeah.
Is that a policy?
Local policy, or would that be an account policy?
Yeah. Yeah, users not on the README. So basically, unknown users.
How about users attached to groups?
That's a good one. I don't think that was on the competition, but that's a good one. So which group assignment?
What memberships do you have, and are they correct?
That's a little bit like standard versus admin user, but when you get into more complex situations, you have more groups, and that may come up on a future competition. All right, we did pretty good to fill in some of these things. That was really good, and I like the way people are going right into the file and looking at it. Okay, let's talk about Ubuntu now. What were the application security settings for Ubuntu? Anyone? It looks like there was at least one.
Maybe our Linux expert has some.
Okay, so one was said, let's see, permit root login, no. So that's not allowing root login to go, but I wouldn't call that an application security setting. What's an application security setting? Oh, there's some people who are filling in down below too. Thank you.
Make you wonder,
so someone just said password length. Well, the trick is that if it's an application security setting, it applies to an application, meaning it's like an app. It's not the operating system itself. So usually when we're talking about password length, that is for the operating system and not the application.
So might you think of MySQL, Postgres? Is there a SQL server without a password for the administrative account? Something like that.
I think that, right. So, okay, there was another SSH root and login, but that's, once again, that's the operating system, that's not the application. So somebody mentioned some of the applications that were on there because they had to either remove them or something. I know that Firewall Nation had all the answers, so they should be able to at least go through the categories.
Remember, sharing some of these things also helps you.
Yes.
It helps by when you share these answers and you share this stuff and you try and help other people learn, it helps you remember this stuff too.
Yes, it does. Well, like I am struggling to think what application on Ubuntu there was that we would have had to make change. So I don't know. But let's see, operating system updates. People have been filling those in. Automatic updates, install important security updates.
So when you're saying operating system updates, would you say, as far as update, what's that? APT get update?
Who typed that one in? Okay, there was, Melina was talked about update OpenSSH.
Yeah.
OpenSSH could have gone under application updates. Oh, okay, and then Brandon's pointing out you want to do the sudo apt-get update. All right, well, so you can see that this starts to give you an idea of like when you're in the competitions, what are you going to be needing to look for? If you haven't found any things that are like defensive countermeasures, maybe you're like, oh yeah, I got to remember to do something for that. You could look at each one of these categories and kind of keep track of what you're doing, and then that's a way to help stimulate some more ideas of things you might try. I think Firewall Nation, they had one that they hadn't done, which was like password changes, which was something that a lot of the new folks did sort of right from the beginning. They didn't do it because it was too obvious. But if you had a list like, did we do all these things? You know, this is sort of the way to help organize your checklists for the competition. All right, that was really great. Thanks for all the great participation. So let's go back to the GoTo Meeting now. All right, I wanted to point something else out to you. Some of you have been building images, and there is, I did this last year. I dumped out all the possible settings from the scoring engine so you could see what tweaks someone who might be building an image for you might look at. So here's, I'll click on that so you can see it. So remember how we were just talking about like what's local policy? So you can see right here, here's some local policy type things. Audit account login events, audit account management. You can ignore the success or failure. That was based on the export from the scoring engine. So, but the gist of it is you can see there's things like audit privilege use, audit local policies. So all these things, once again, can give you something to consider when you're trying to figure out what vulnerabilities are still out there. So you can scan through these later on your own, but it does categorize them, local policy, security options, so we can see more what are some local policy things. Audit policy. Oh, going the wrong way, no wonder. Okay. Network access is probably streaming right by really fast, but so this particular scoring engine is for Windows only. So even though you could kind of consider the categories, these are the things that you can look at. There was actually one setting where I think it was in the last competition. Oh yeah, store passwords using reversible encryption. That's an example of something that you shouldn't do. And in the last competition, it was set to disabled. And when people saw that setting, they thought, oh, maybe I should change that. That looks like a security setting. If you would have enabled it, then you lost points. So you need to turn that back off. Yeah. Well, and just so people know, Ethan said it's obviously dumb, but what that actually means is that by decrypting one password, you could decrypt all the passwords. If you could decrypt one and you knew the key, then you could reverse it the other way around. Actually, I'm not sure that's totally true, but it's true at least for that that individual password. Goes both ways. Let's see. Okay, so you guys can look at that later. And going back to the briefing. Okay, and this is I think we just wanted to give our platinum team. So if you think you're going to be on the platinum team or you were last year, please offer some sage advice to the other folks here. What would be your most important last minute advice for somebody else? Okay, Arin said work the full 6 hours. Keep trying things. So that just shows you, being persistent. Persistence is huge. Isaac, what's your advice? You still out there? Well, looks like you had to drop off. I've only seen, it looks like I'm only seeing the Firewall Nation.
More food.
All right. Who else has a suggestion? Help each other out.
How about related to the first half of this meeting? Make sure that you have a good checklist. Work on your checklist ahead of time. Bring it with you.
All right, Brendan just gave an implied one. He said, how come no one said that Cisco is important and that you can't rush it? So it's very true. It's worth 33 points. And if you take your time, you have 6 hours to get 33 points. That's pretty good. Don't submit until you're ready. Yeah, Leon has said, look in, and if you don't have your own checklist, go ahead and check them out. Use Google. All right, now? I want to quiz somebody who was here at the beginning. I'm going to pick on.
Preemptive. Nice, Leon.
All right, Leon, yes, 333. So,
now, for all of you that didn't respond, what was the question?
Yeah, what was the question?
That was the answer to.
How many points this round? That's right. Okay, very good. All right, so by the way, this the vulnerability categories, let me show you where that file is, because a bunch of you found it, but in case you couldn't find it, it's got to go to the Google Drive. Okay. Under checklists, vulnerabilities by category, and that's vulnerabilities by category from round 1. So you guys you helped build this. We are going to use this and perhaps more to put into the wiki that we've talked about a few times. I have one more parting question. How do you have fun during the day of competition? Anybody? What do you do for fun? Okay, eat food is good. I like that. What's your favorite food to eat during competition? Music, yep. Do not start playing video games. I like the what has the Chinese chicken salad? What's that place that we've gone to before? had brought in once last year. Rascals, yeah. We've got to get some parents to like donate Rascals for everybody, including me. All right. Well, any parting questions before we go?
So I have a question that I don't know if it actually got answered. It was the one that I saw you guys all trying to answer it. So what are those constituent points for the 333? How does that break out?
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez, keeping them honest.
I saw a bunch of you trying to answer it. I think 2 of them were in there, but
333.
There you go.
you got it.
Yep. 100 per image and 33 for the Cisco. That's right. Okay, so we had 29 people in today's session. I think you're gonna all benefit. Let's do a little refresh on the YouTube, see if we got one more subscriber. Yes, we did. Thank you, whoever you were. Hey, keep subscribing. We're gonna post these there later, but okay. I'm gonna stop sharing, and then you guys can go do your homework or whatever else you need to do. Have a nice day. Games.